So a few weeks ago, I designed the next gen Monster High, and these designs were supposed to represent what the main character's children would look like. Ever After High had a similar concept as Monster High, where the main characters were children of classic fairy tale characters, and I wanted to explore what their children would look like because relationships were very much explored in this series. So let's get on with the video, starting off with Raven and Dexter's child. From the series, we could see that Raven and Dexter had some vibes going on from the very beginning, or at least for the very first part of their relationship. It does seem like Dexter was the only one that was interested in a romantic sense. For the first few times we saw them interact, I got a feeling that Raven saw Dexter more of as a friend rather than a romantic interest. But of course this changed over time, and we later see that there is a mutual interest between both parties. I also remembered that there's another character, I think her name was Cupid. She was another character from both the Monster High and Ever After High series, and she had some romantic interests towards Dexter. I did feel kind of bad for her though, just because she was a really sweet girl, but she did have a predicament. So the whole premise of Cupid is that she helps others fall in love, but with this predicament, she helped Dexter express his feelings towards Raven, even though she had feelings for him herself. So when I watched that episode where she did help Dexter kind of show his love to Raven, I did feel kind of bad for her, just because I feel that if Dexter knew that she liked him, then maybe there's a chance that he would like her back too. Nonetheless, I do ship Dexter and Raven together. I do feel like their characteristics match. I feel like they're very much compatible. It's just that I feel really bad for Cupid, and I was hoping that at some point maybe she would have her own romantic interest herself and she wouldn't be stuck in a predicament like that for the rest of her life. I don't recall anyone replacing Dexter as a romantic interest for Cupid, which makes it even more sad, but as sad as it sounds, I am really happy for Raven and Dexter. I especially like how their relationship balance each other out, because Dexter isn't like his older brother Daring. He isn't the typical Prince Charming stereotype. He is shy, he's nerdy, and often insecure. Whilst Raven, even though she's strong and independent, she's also unsure of her destiny, which is what we could see throughout the series. Their bond grows out of a mutual respect, some shared insecurities, and also because Raven is so kind to Dexter as well, and he really does appreciate that, which is why his feelings towards her grew. So overall, the relationship is quite nice. There's a mutual respect and admiration between both parties, and Dexter often sees the good in Raven even when others doubt her, which is really nice and brings some confidence into their relationship as well. And in turn, Raven also finds a lot of comfort in his loyalty and kindness, and she also appreciates the fact that he sees her differently than what others see her as. So even though their relationship grew quite slowly, she did eventually recognize his romantic feelings, and I like how their relationship is quite gentle. It's based on trust. It formed from friendship and support, which is quite nice to see, especially with the types of relationships we see in cartoons today. It is quite what you would call a romantic and fairy tale like relationship. So moving on to their daughter's character design, I wanted their daughter to have a similar gothic fashion style as Raven. We don't often see this kind of fashion sense in cartoons in general, or even in Ever After High, so I wanted to keep that in there just because compared to the other characters I'll be drawing today, she will be quite unique in terms of fashion style. So as you can see, I gave her this polo type dress and wanted to give her an alternative look. So she will have these fishnets across her arm and leg. So I did pull this picture up from Pinterest, and I thought that dress is quite casual yet quite eye-catching, which is why I really like it. I did change the sleeves a little bit to have that kind of bat webbing type thing going on, and I gave the back of the skirt a bit of a longer look and gave that a bat-like appearance, bat wing-like appearance as well, just to keep with the Dark Queen kind of vibe. And I wanted her to have these long and slightly curled in the end type of hair to give her more of that royal kind of aesthetic, because I believe Raven has mainly straight-ish hair. Sometimes you could see that it is a bit wavy, but I wanted to change this a little bit for their daughter's look. I have no idea about Dexter's hair, it's too short to tell, but I wanted that kind of, I call it a royal curl. A lot of fancy like characters tend to have these kind of curls in their hair as well. And also I thought it would add some volume. And of course for the color palette, I did mainly go for Raven's color palette, so kind of black and purple. But you guys could see that I added some blues in there as well. Her eye color is definitely blue, which she got from Dexter's side of the family. Her accent colors are definitely more magenta than it is purple like Raven, just so that there's a differentiation between these two characters. But yeah, I think she's really, really cute. So for the sake of consistency and proportion control, you guys could see that I made sure to use Raven and Dexter's daughter as an example for the proportion sizing for the rest of these drawings, just because I don't really draw Ever After High characters. I don't think I drew them as much as a child than any other fandoms that I was interested in, so I always kind of messed up with the proportion controls. A lot of people assume that the proportions between Ever After High and Monster High are similar, but I would disagree, so that's why I had to use the first character design as an example to make sure that the proportions in the rest of these characters are quite similar, to make it look like they're at least from the same fandom. Anyways, as you guys could see, I am drawing the daughter of Applewhite and Darling Charming. And this might be a hit or miss for you guys, and in my opinion, I found it quite a shocking turn of events as well. This is because for the majority of the series, Apple and Darling didn't seem to have much chemistry, romantic wise at least, maybe because Apple was more concerned about Darling's brother Daring, who was her boyfriend at the first part of the series, or maybe because we knew that Apple already had a canon romantic partner, so not many people, including myself, really shipped her with anyone else because she already had someone by her side at the time at least. So during the Dragon Games part of the series, when Darling kissed Apple to wake her up, it was quite hyped up, and in my opinion, I didn't really expect that. That came out of nowhere in my opinion. I feel that if this story was to be revisited, we need to have some sort of clues or inkling at least beforehand to kind of hint at the fact that these two characters had some interest going on in between them, at least from friendship first, because I know that they eventually became friends and I guess they were mutual acquaintances, but when I rewatch the series, I don't really feel anything between these two characters, which is why I'm saying it was quite unexpected. I didn't really see that coming. But nonetheless, the whole concept of destiny partners or destined partners were actually so interesting, and I love the way that was explored in this series, because all throughout the series or the first part of the series, we thought that Daring and Apple were destined together, Prince Charming and Princess. But I love the twist of it, that it turns out it wasn't him. He wasn't the Charming that she needed. It was actually Darling. And that was also explored between the Rapunzel twins. One of them was actually the destined Rapunzel and the other one was not. So I really like that concept that if you had a sibling, there was a potential that only one of you will be the next, I guess, fairy tale character, and you don't know who. Anyways, I'm not very sure if Apple and Darling's relationship progressed much ever since the kiss, but I mentioned earlier that Apple and Daring's relationship did strain because they were not actually destined together like they thought they were. But we're going to imagine, because I'm not sure if this actually happened, but I'm going to imagine that Apple and Darling actually progressed a bit later on and they became romantic partners and they will have a daughter. So I gave her this wavy type hair that both characters have and tied some of her hair back because I have a feeling that she will be quite athletic like Darling. And I also found this really cute princess dress from Pinterest, and I did dissect it slightly, so the top half of the dress is quite similar, but the bottom half, when it comes to the trailing at the back there, I did remove that just because it wasn't very practical. Now the lady in the Pinterest photo is wearing these ballet point shoes, except it has heels, and these are really interesting actually. I did search it up and these pair of shoes cost about 200 quid, and I don't doubt that Darling and Apple can afford this since they're both princesses, and I also added that to their daughter's design. I just realized that I have used all of the charming siblings in this video, and I didn't intend to do that, but you know what? It kind of fits the theme, because in a lot of fairy tales that we know that involves princesses, there's always a Prince Charming involved, so it makes sense that I will involve the charming siblings into this since they are his descendants. But I didn't really mean to do this, to be completely honest with you. I just wanted to explore Daring's relationship because this was also quite unexpected. I think it was during the epic winter series that we find out that Daring is some sort of beast, or at least he turned into a beast, in which he got paired with Belle and the beast's daughter Rosabella. I thought this relationship was introduced quite well, and I feel that the other relationships in this video were introduced quite well as well, and it showed the audience how complex relationships can be, which is great because not all relationships are black and white, and this needs to be explored in this kind of media as well, that everyone can have a happily ever after. Daring and Rosabella's arc is probably one of the most transformative in Ever After High, because Rosabella helps see Daring see past his superficial charm and embrace something a bit deeper, like deeper qualities such as kindness, courage and humility, which he needed to explore because at the beginning of the series, Daring was not the most humblest man in the whole series. And in turn, Daring does challenge Rosabella to recognize that even someone who seemed shallow at first can grow into a true hero. And by the end of the series, Rosabella does become a person who sees Daring for someone who he truly is, which sparked their romance. Now, this is going to sound bad, but hear me out. This relationship is what I thought would have happened if Belle from Beauty and the Beast had accepted Gaston as her romantic partner instead of the Beast. I feel like since she's kind, smart and influential, that she would have changed Gaston, that at some point he would have been a bit more gentle, he would have been a bit more kind. But to be fair, he came on a bit too strong for my liking as well. I mean, the man didn't even court her at that time as well. In that time period that Beauty and the Beast is set on, he didn't really court her, and courting was a big thing then. He just literally knocked up her door and said, "You want to marry me?" He didn't even ask, he just said, "You're going to marry me." He didn't even bother asking her father, and he made fun of her father. So to be completely fair, it's all fair game, you know. I get why she rejected him from the first instance. But yeah, just like all the other relationships in this video, I'm not very sure how Daring and Rosabella's relationship actually progressed. I'm not sure if that was even explored. So I'm not sure if they became a full-fledged couple. I have a feeling they did. But if they did, this would be their daughter. And I wanted their daughter to definitely resemble Belle a little bit more. So her hair is a bit more like Belle's, especially with the low ponytail. And instead of giving her a brunette with red stripes type of colouring with her hair, I thought that I should mix Rosabella and Daring's hair together, so she has a brunette hair with golden stripes instead. Her colour palette is a bit more like Belle's colour palette though, like the blue was the blue dress that she was wearing back when she was living at the town, and the golden part resembles kind of like her golden dress when she was dancing with the Beast. Well, that's all I have for you guys in this video, and as you guys saw, I didn't actually give the girls any names, so if you guys have any ideas, please put them down in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next Mango Monday. Bye!